Section 5.6, Dividing Polynomials. Number 3. 10 times p to the power of 6 plus 20 times p to the power of 4 over 5p. Here we're being asked to divide a binomial in the numerator by a monomial. Now, since the monomial is in the denominator position, is the common denominator for both the terms in the numerator. So it's a common denominator between 10p to the power of 6 and 20p to the power of 4. We can give each of those terms on the top a separate denominator. We can rewrite it as 10p to the power of 6 over 5p plus 20 times p to the power of 4 over 5p. Next, we simplify each of those fractions. 5 goes into 10 twice. 5 goes into 20 4 times. So we've simplified the numbers, we've simplified those fractions, and we get 2 times p to the power of 6 over p to the power of 1. Remember, when you don't see an exponent, that's the power of 1, plus 4p to the power of 4 over p to the power of 1. And now we simplify the p to the power of 6 over p to the power of 1, where we have like bases. So when we have like bases, the same base, p and p, we can apply the quotient rule. The quotient rule says when we're dividing like bases, we subtract the exponents. So we subtract 1 from 6. And on the other term, we subtract the 1 from the 4, also by the quotient rule. And that simplifies to 2 times p to the power of 5 plus 4 times p to the power of 3. And that's our answer. Number 4. X squared plus 6x plus 5 divided by x plus 1. Now we're dividing a polynomial by a binomial. When this is the case, when we're not dividing by a monomial, we need to use long division. To use long division, the first thing is to know where does the numerator go, where does the denominator go. Keep in mind the numerator is the top number. That is your dividend. That is what is being divided into. The top guy goes inside the division symbol. And the bottom guy, the denominator, is the divisor. The divisor does the work. That bottom guy goes outside. The x plus 1 goes outside. So your dividend goes inside the division symbol, and your divisor goes outside. So now we proceed as follows. We take our x squared in our dividend, and we divide it by the x in the divisor. X squared over x is x to the 2 minus 1 by the quotient rule, and that is x. That's that blue x you see. And that blue x goes right above the first term in your dividend. So the first step was to divide the first term in the dividend by the first term in the divisor. Second step is to take the blue x you see at the top of your division symbol. It's going to be the quotient. It's going to be the result of our division. And you multiply it by each term in the divisor. So we go x times the x on the divisor, and that gives us x squared. And we write that right below the x squared in the divisor, in the dividend. And then we go the blue x times the 1 in the divisor. And we get x, and we write that right below the 6x. Then we subtract, just like in long division with regular numbers. We subtract, because division is repeated subtraction, but we're subtracting that whole x squared plus x from the dividend. So we have to distribute that subtraction sign you see outside parentheses. That's like a -1, and we have to multiply each of the terms inside the parentheses by that -1. So the result is what you see in red. We scratch out the minus sign now outside parentheses because we've already multiplied that through, and as a result we get minus x squared minus x. So then we take x squared in the dividend minus the x squared below it, and we get 0. 6x in the dividend minus the x below it, minus the x below it, and we get 6x minus 1x is 5x. Bring down the 5 from the dividend, and now the cycle repeats. We take the 5x off of the 5x plus 5, which is the first term now, and we divide it by the x in the divisor. 5x over x, those x's cancel, and we have 5. The green 5, and you see the green 5 goes right above the 6x, right above the dividend, the 6x in the dividend. After we do that division, we multiply the 5, that green 5, by each term in the divisor again. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 1 is 5. And subtract again. 5x plus 5 minus 5x plus 5, exactly the same thing, gives us a 0 remainder. So that means x plus 1 goes into x squared plus 6x plus 5 evenly. It goes in x plus 5 times. X plus 5 is our quotient. That is our answer. Number 6. 6x squared plus 15x plus 2 divided by 2x plus 3. So we rewrite it with our divisor 2x plus 3 outside the division sign, and our dividend 6x squared plus 15x plus 2 inside the division sign. So then we do the cycle again, and remember the cycle is first we're going to divide, then we multiply, then we subtract, then we bring the next number down. So first we divide the first term off of the dividend divided by the first term off of the divisor. So you see the purple 6x squared divided by the pink 2x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. By the quotient rule, we have x to the 2 minus 1. When you divide like bases, you subtract the exponents. 2 minus 1 is 1, leaving us with 3x. So 2x goes into 6x squared 3x times, and we write that in the blue right above this purple 6x squared. So now we've divided. Next step is multiply. We multiply the blue 3x by each of the terms in the divisor. So we go to 3x times the 2x, and we get 6x squared, and we write that right underneath the purple 6x squared. Then we do 3x times the 3 times the second term on the divisor, and we get 9x, and we write that right under the 15x. Now we're subtracting that whole binomial, that whole 6x squared plus 9x. So that means we need to distribute that minus sign among each of the terms in parentheses. So we go the minus 1 times the 6x squared, and we get minus 6x squared. And minus 1 times the 9x, we get minus 9x. So now we're going to use the red minus signs. 6x squared minus 6x squared is 0. That should always happen, that first term disappears. 15x minus 9x is 6x. Okay, so we've divided, we've multiplied, we've subtracted. Very last step, we bring down the 2, and we have 6x plus 2. Now we repeat the cycle again. Divide, and this time we divide the purple 6x, the first term, off of that difference there, which is a new quotient, divided by the 2x, the first term off of the divisor, and we get 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then those x's cancel, so 2x goes into 6x 3 times, and we put that 3, that green 3, right above the 15x. Then we subtract. Remember, we distribute the minus 1, so we get minus 6x minus 9. 6x minus 6x is 0. 2 minus 9 is minus 7. Okay, 9 minus 2 is 7, but our bigger absolute value is negative, so it's negative 7. And that's our remainder, because 2x plus 3 doesn't go into minus 7 anymore. So that is our remainder. How do we write our answer when we have a remainder? Well, first you write the quotient, which is the 3x plus 3. Then we put remainder over divisor. Our remainder is minus 7, so we have minus 7 over our divisor, which was 2x plus 3. And that's how we write our answer. Okay, so what is the process of dividing a polynomial by another polynomial? It's the same process that we use for long division of real numbers. Divide first, then multiply, then subtract, then bring down. You remember those steps, it will keep you from getting lost in the process.